If you want to know if your body has water up, fire down energy circulation right now, when you have water up, fire down, it means that your brain is correctly balanced and stable. My brain feels it, and now I feel I'd better change this condition. Affecting change is a skill. In order to affect change, you have to feel the current condition and feel the whole process of causing change. And this is something the brain knows in an incredibly mind-blowing way. Ordinarily, you can express it as just being happy, being comfortable, or liking something. The thing that determines that for you is your brain. When we get stressed, our brain gets hot. Our bellies are supposed to be warm. But if the heat from our bellies goes up into our heads, conversely, the cold energy goes down into our lower bellies. The energy has been switched. This is what we call reversed water up, fire down. Knowing that first, rather than through intellectual knowledge, but through cognition of your brain to say, this isn't it, that's when you're connected with your brain. If you keep getting stressed and your head gets too hot, what happens? Does your eyesight become more vivid and clear, or dim and fuzzy? Does your mouth become dry as the Sahara, or not dry? Does your skin become dry or not dry? It gets dry. Even when this is explained to you clearly, it doesn't occur to you to do anything about it yourself. That's why you have to check at least once a week and give your brain time to make yourself have water up, fire down. Even if your brain wants to fix it, wouldn't you need to provide it with the necessary time? Even when you want to study, do work, or exercise, you need to give it time. Who gives that time? You give it to yourself. The relationship between yourself and your brain, this is truly important. The skill of staying young has to do with effective self-management. To keep yourself always in a state of water up, fire down. As you eliminate bad habits and praise and compliment what's good, it's important to keep complimenting and encouraging yourself. Just as you praise and love on a dog you're raising, getting your brain to stay true to you for life also depends on what you do. Let me tell you about happiness. What is a happy life? I think all of you already know it. A brain that is balanced produces happiness. If the balance is disrupted and your brain's condition is unstable, because it doesn't have water up, fire down, then it makes you want to have what other people have, even if you don't need it. Happiness isn't something that somebody hands to you. It's something you make for yourself. If you feel satisfied with your current circumstances, and you feel grateful, and keep working hard and giving your best effort in your life, real happiness keeps growing bigger. But if you think happiness comes from money, fame, and power, and pursue them in inappropriate ways, rather than normal ways to satisfy greed and selfish desire, and you go after these external things, our brain doesn't have a chance to calm down. Third, do you dream of a future where everyone has a happy life? If you're not happy about yourself, or from a state of dissatisfaction with yourself, Would you have the wherewithal to hope for all people to be happy or not? If you don't have that kind of happiness inside yourself, and you don't have that standard for health and happiness, would you be able to think of your neighbors and hope for all people in the world to be happy? There are so many countries that are struggling. Even now, there is a tremendous number of people who are starving to death because they don't have enough food to eat. I came up with the idea of Earth management. Would you please repeat after me? Earth management. Politics that's helpful to Earth management. Religion that's helpful to Earth management. Economics that's helpful to Earth management. Academics that's helpful to Earth management. Arts, culture, and science that are helpful to Earth management. If we fail at Earth management, the Earth's environment really is in critical danger. It's said that this is the era of the fourth industrial revolution, and although there are tremendous conveniences that come from the developments of the fourth industrial revolution, if we continue with the fourth industrial revolution on the wrong track, without the goal of everyone living a happy life, but we need to ask if those are the blazing speeds at which the Earth is hurtling toward collective destruction. A normal person might have these thoughts. In order to correct the wrong direction of the fourth industrial revolution, I would like to talk about the fifth industrial revolution. The fifth industrial revolution is based on an industry of character. It is necessary to recover character. Whatever work I do, whether I'm working at a restaurant or cleaning, if you do it with the mindset of starting with myself, for the sake of the era of spiritual civilization, for thriving collectively and coexisting, because we'll all face co-destruction if we keep going the way we are now, you realize for yourself that your value is that I am a person who has come to save the earth. There's a song by Cheonan. It's called Leopard of the Kilimanjaro. But in the middle of the song, there's a part that really touched me. I came to Earth because the 21st century Earth wanted me desperately. This is a self-declaration. Are you going to say to yourself, I found that I had just got born somehow? The reason I came in the 21st century is because the Earth needs me. I'm going to die anyway, through the process of birth, aging, illness, death. Perhaps that intention, to live a life that is helpful to the earth before I go, demonstrates the brain's awakening. In that sense, finding the goal of life is precisely the way to become the master of the brain. Looking at this, it's a question of, is the purpose of your life success, or is it completion? Is your MO for interpersonal relationships based on respect or on control? Is your method of transaction harmony, or is it competition? Is your concept for assets based on management? Is your idea of profit based on public interest, the common good? Changing here, like this, if you could just change this, that person would be moving toward completion. And then you can have Kongseng, harmonious coexistence. If we keep going this way, we end up with collective destruction, and ultimately what's produced is misery. This isn't a matter of enlightenment. It's a matter of choice. How will you choose your own value? This isn't something that requires you to engage in ascetic practice for 5 or 10 years, having to put yourself in the state of water up, fire down. You have to make determinations about yourself. And when you reach a conclusion about what kind of life you're resolved to live, as the master of your brain, you'll come up with your own skills for living youthfully, and you'll be able to design for yourself a life in which you can be happy. I ask people, what is your dream? When they're older and they're asked what their dream is, there are people who say, it's been so long since anyone has asked me a question like that. Whenever I meet someone, and it seems like we're going to have a conversation, I always ask them what their dream is. You don't need to have a particularly special occupation or position to do that. To say that, while I'm alive, I'm living so that all people can have a happy life. That's what I live for. And that's the path of my life. When you're living in society, you need success, fame, and money. But these must not be the goal. They have to be the means. Everybody knows all of that so far. Why are we talking about the fifth industrial revolution and earth management? Even Confucius said that the basic survival needs need to be resolved for people to know courtesy. If their basic needs aren't met, how can people talk about courtesy and peace for humankind? Let's utilize the fourth industrial revolution well. An idea I had is we could use supercomputers to make an Earth Hall and use them to have efficiently organized administrative work and HR out of everything that's produced from the Earth. Even if we only produced 1/10 of it, if we distributed it well, there would never be anyone starving to death. We need to correct the direction of the fourth industrial revolution through the fifth industrial revolution. There have to be a lot of people who feel the same about this. It doesn't work with just one or two people talking about it. That's why utilizing the fourth industrial revolution well and opening up the era of earth management through the fifth industrial revolution really is using the brain well. And I think that in the future, we'll need good brains more than smart brains. In the future, if many people have a dream and share sentiment about the fifth industry and the era of earth management, we can find the answer not only to domestic problems, but also Asian problems and human problems. And that answer is found precisely in the fifth industry and the era of earth management. In that sense, all you have to do is change your mind about what you do. Yeah, my dream for the future is for everyone to live a happy life. For that, I'm working now as a professor, or I train people, do farming, run a restaurant, and clean. This is a revolution of consciousness. It's not a huge deal. When this happens, a new future for mankind will unfold. I think that in the future, brain education can have a significant effect on global spiritual civilization. And since it came from Korea, Korea can contribute to the era of global spiritual civilization. And I like to think that by then, we'll be living a beautiful life. Thank you.